What is going on, guys? It is your boy Tropical Habs back here today for our brand new video talking about the Montreal Canadiens. And today we're going to be talking about a trade that happened last year at the trade deadline. We already made two videos talking about this trade. This is an update because we're getting close to the mid-season. We're like 7 games away from the mid-season. So yeah, we're getting close to the mid-season. We're going to look into what it's looking like right now. And yes, of course, I'm talking about the Ben Chiarot trade. So, the Canadiens last year at the trade deadline decided to trade up Ben Chiarot, retain 50% of his cap space, and they got a pretty good return for it. They traded him to the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers kind of flopped. They flopped in the playoffs, and Ben Chiarot moved away at free agencies now with the Detroit Red Wings. So, the trade was an absolute steal when you look at it now, and it could become the biggest steal in Habs club history, man. This trade is looking like a steal. And Ben Chiarot is a pretty good defenseman, but like he's not a top. For me, he's not a top 4 defenseman. For me, he's a 5th or a 6th defenseman. Yes, he had a good season. In this season, the Canadiens went to the Stanley Cup final, but I don't think he will ever repeat that season in his career right now with the Detroit Red Wings. I've seen a lot of Red Wings fan raging out on Ben Chiarot on Twitter. He's taking a lot of penalties. He's making a lot of turnovers, a bit like he was doing in his last season last year with the Canadiens. But the Canadiens still got a first-round pick from the Panthers for Ben Chiarot and a pretty decent prospect in Ty Smilanic. So, we're going to look at where Smilanic is at right now. We're going to look how's the first-round pick looking like as of right now, and I'm going to explain to you guys why do I think this could become the biggest steal in Habs trading history, at least in recent hockey, because I don't know about the trades that happened in 1960, 1970. But in the recent history of the Canadiens, this could be the biggest steal ever, man. Even bigger than the Suzuki trade. So, a lot of things happened, and at first the pick from the Panthers was a 2022 first round pick with the condition that if they traded it, it would become the 2023 first round pick. And so now the Canadiens are getting an unprotected first round pick in 2023. That's how it turned out with all the conditions. I couldn't explain to you guys what the conditions were exactly because I'm not really understanding what's going on, and it's in French and I'm struggling to translate. So you guys can look at it on Cap Friendly. Montreal basically is receiving an unprotected first round pick from the Panthers in 2023, which is probably the most stacked draft in a while, at least since 2016, 2015, in my opinion. This draft is going to be in that caliber of draft, and 16 and 15 were some really, really big drafts. A lot of good players are coming out of those drafts. And there's a franchise player. And for me, there's at least 3 franchise players, 3 possible franchise players. Connor Bedard, Fantilli, and Mishkov could all 3 become franchise players. So, this draft is stacked in center. This draft is stacked with everything. If you get a top 15 pick, it's basically a top 10 pick. If you get a top 10 pick, it's basically a top 5 pick. If you get a top 5 pick, it's basically just first overall picks. I think that the 5 first players in that draft could have all went first overall in the last draft. So that tells you a lot about how stacked this draft is. So the pick is unprotected. So even if the Panthers finish dead last, the pick is still going to the Canadiens. So it was a pretty bad decision by the Panthers GM to give out that pick only for a guy like Ben Chiarot. Because, don't get me wrong, I like Ben Chiarot. He played good for the Canadiens, but he ain't no Nicholas Lidstrom. He ain't no top 2 defenseman. Giving out a first round pick for a guy like Ben Chiarot is a lot, but I mean a lot. And yeah, right now it's not looking good for the Panthers, man. They have 15 wins, 15 losses, 4 losses in overtime in 34 games played. They have 34 points. So 34 points in 34 games played. And they are 1 point away from the Canadiens with 1 extra game played. So they are at the same level than the Habs right now in the standings. So that means that right now, if the season ended tomorrow, the Canadiens would have 2 shots at the lottery for Connor Bedard. Because the Panthers they're at the position right now where they could get a top 2 pick. The odds are low, but they could be in the top 2 right now if they remain at that position. So the Canadiens right now, if the season ended tomorrow, and if they would get lucky in the lottery, it would be possible for them to have 2 picks in the top 5 and 2 shots at Connor Bedard. And recently, it's been going completely wrong for the Panthers. They are losing again and again and again and again. And with how stacked the Eastern Conference is right now, I can't see them make the playoffs. Like, honestly, I don't see them make the playoffs. They got worse, a lot worse than this summer. They're not as good as they were last year. They're struggling in a lot, but I mean a lot of things in their teams. They're struggling offensively. They're struggling defensively. They have problems in net. So, yeah, not looking good for the Panthers. And we have their first round pick. So we're kind of double tanking right now. We're cheering for the Habs to tank, and we're cheering for the Panthers to tank. And yeah, the prospect they got with Sherrod in Thijs Milanek. He's 20 years old. He's playing his first year in the Big Ten with the University of Wisconsin, same university as Cole Caulfield was playing in. Right now, he's not having nothing special of his season. He has 1 goal and 6 games played. So I doubt that is going to be to become a good NHL player, but you never know what's going to happen. He certainly has the abilities. He skates well. He has some hands, but he will need to work on his IQ and his shot a little bit, in my opinion, to become a good NHL forward. But like I said, if you put the hard work, anything's possible. But as of right now, I don't see it coming from him. But the big piece in that trade was the first round pick. And if the Canadiens could get a top 10 pick with that pick, yeah, I think it would be the biggest steal in Habs recent history. Because just imagine if we can turn out a Ben Sherrod into a Brendan Yeager, into Leo Carlson, into Dalibor Dvorsky. It would be like next level shit. Some genius, but I can't use. So yeah, let me know what you guys all think about this. Do you think the Panthers are going to come back, or do you think that it's going to continue to go downhill? Let me know in the comments below. It's been your boy Tropical Habs, and I'll see y'all later for another video. Have a nice rest of your day, and bye-bye.